If you've been wondering which air fryer is best, today I'm going to walk you through 9 different models that I've tried in my own kitchen. We'll talk about the pros and cons of using a basket-style air fryer versus an oven-style air fryer, which model is the most non-toxic, and the Instant Pot air fryer lid if you've been curious about that one. For each air fryer today, we're going to cover how crispy they can make a batch of homemade French fries, how badly they may smell when you first use them straight out of the box, how much they can cook at once, and how much counter space they take up. We're going to start with the most affordable air fryers and move our way up to the more expensive ones, so let's get started. The first air fryer we're going to talk about today is actually the first one I ever bought, and that's the NuWave Brio 6-quart air fryer. What I like about this model is that it makes perfectly crispy homemade French fries, and this square-shaped basket seems to hold more food than the round-shaped baskets found on some other models. It's deep enough that I can fit a 5-pound chicken inside, and I can fit about 18 to 20 homemade fries in a single layer. Size-wise, this NuWave air fryer takes up about the same amount of space as my 6-quart Instant Pot. It's a little too tall to fit in any of my kitchen cabinets, so it's definitely something that has to sit on my counter, but it's come in handy because we use this air fryer to cook protein and roast veggies almost every week. I also love the 4-minute reheat button to heat up leftovers as an alternative to using a microwave. What I don't love about this model is the bottom of the basket does have a nonstick coating, and it smells like burning plastic the first few times you use it. The surface that actually touches your food doesn't seem to have a nonstick coating, so I do like that, but the smell was such a turnoff for me that I did end up storing this model in our basement for a few weeks to let it air out before I was willing to use it again. The smell does eventually go away, so if the weather is nice where you're living right now, you might want to plug this model in outside the first few times you use it on a back porch or a deck, and let the smell air out that way so that it doesn't linger in your house. Cleaning-wise, you press a button in the handle to separate the basket from the bottom, and then you can clean both pieces separately. Neither piece will fit in my dishwasher, so you'll have to do this by hand. The nonstick coating on the bottom of the air fryer is definitely starting to flake off from years of cleaning it, which is why I need to replace this air fryer, because you don't want any little pieces of the nonstick coating to start flaking into your food. The second air fryer we're going to cover today is the Instant Pot Vortex, which was gifted to me by the company a few years ago after I wrote the Fresh and Healthy Instant Pot cookbook. What I like about this model is that it has a 6-quart capacity, just like the NuWave model we just discussed, but I do find this basket is a little easier to clean. You use a little handle to lift the insert out, and then it's easy to hand wash both pieces. Homemade French fries turn out perfectly crispy in this model, and the square-shaped basket allows you to fit 18 to 20 fries in a single layer at once. Compared to other models that we'll look at later, this is almost double the amount of French fries that you can fit into a round-shaped basket. The Instant Pot Vortex takes up the same amount of counter space as the last model we looked at, so it's something that will probably have to sit on your counter. But what I don't love about this model is that the basket is more shallow than the other 6-quart air fryers. So if you're looking to cook a whole chicken in your air fryer, I don't think one would fit in here. This air fryer also has a terrible smell the first few times you use it, so just like the last model, I recommend using it the first few times outside if you can, on a back porch or a deck, so that it can air out without impacting the smell of your house. Another downside for me on this one is that the basket does have a nonstick coating that is in direct contact with your food, so if that's something you're looking to avoid, this might not be the model for you. The next air fryer to discuss is the Ninja Air Fryer, which was recommended to me by many of you on Instagram after I mentioned how badly my other 2 air fryers smelled the first few times I used them. What I like about this model is that it has a ceramic coating, and as a result, I haven't noticed a significant smell with this air fryer, even during the very first use. This is a huge bonus for me. This model makes perfectly crispy French fries, and since this is only a 4-quart size, it's also a little more compact compared to the other two 6-quart air fryers that we just covered. This machine has a dehydrator function as well, if you want to dehydrate something small that will fit into this smaller basket. I find this Ninja basket very easy to clean, and the basket and insert are both dishwasher safe if you prefer to skip hand washing. What I don't love about this air fryer is the round-shaped basket. It isn't as convenient for arranging homemade French fries, so it only holds about 10 to 12 fries in a single layer at once. It would be perfect if you're only cooking for 1 or maybe 2 people, but I don't think this is a great size if you're cooking for a family. Out of curiosity, I also bought one more air fryer that has a ceramic coating on the inside to see if that might be why the Ninja air fryer doesn't smell when my other 2 air fryers did. So I bought this Yedi Air Fryer to see if all ceramic coatings might not have that terrible smell when you first use them. What I like about this air fryer is that it comes with a ton of accessories, so if you plan on baking in your air fryer or trying something more adventurous, I feel like you're covered with all of these things. Or it could be a downside if you don't have a lot of kitchen space and you don't want to store all of these extra accessories. Performance-wise and size-wise, this air fryer is very similar to the other 2 6-quart models we've already covered. It can hold about 18 to 20 French fries in a single layer, and the fries do turn out crispy, so I'm totally satisfied with the air fryer performance. To my disappointment, this air fryer does smell when you first use it, so I can't say that all ceramic coated air fryers will not have a smell the way the Ninja did. So far, the Ninja is the only basket style air fryer that I've tried that doesn't have a significant smell the first time you use it, but the next few air fryers we're going to cover also don't have a smell, so there's still plenty of options ahead. Cleaning-wise, this Yedi Air Fryer is very similar to the Instant Pot Vortex air fryer, so it's relatively easy. Overall, this model is more expensive than the first 2 6-quart air fryers that we discussed, and since it does still smell, I don't necessarily recommend it over the other 2 more affordable options, unless you're interested in those extra accessories that it comes with. Moving on, the next air fryer that we're going to discuss is the Big Boss Air Fryer. And as you can see, it's pretty unique. What I love about this model is that there is no nonstick coating, and as a result, it doesn't smell at all the first time you use it straight from the box. Instead of using a basket, this model features a huge glass bowl and a glass lid with wire trays that fit inside to allow for air circulation under your food. It's actually a very similar concept to the Instant Pot Air Fryer lid, only this one has a much larger capacity. It comes with a low cooking rack and a high cooking rack depending on how large of an item that you need to cook. And it even has a stainless steel extender ring if you want to cook something particularly large. I've tested homemade French fries in here, baked tofu, and chicken breasts, and they all cook very similarly to the basket style air fryers that I own, so I'm satisfied with the air fryer performance here. Size-wise, this machine feels pretty large and it takes up quite a bit of counter space. Luckily, it comes in some pretty colors, which I think makes it look more appealing on a countertop, but I'll admit that I was hesitant to buy this one at first because I didn't know if I wanted it to sit on my counter year-round. The glass bowl is also a little heavy because it's so large, so I do worry about dropping it, but so far it's been fine, and I do love that the bowl is dishwasher safe. Of all the models we've discussed so far, the Big Boss Air Fryer is my favorite because it's just about as non-toxic as it gets, and it also happens to be the most affordable of all the air fryers I've tried. If you're looking for an air fryer that has more bells and whistles like a dehydrator function or a proof function, then this air fryer is not for you. But if you want a basic air fryer that can cook French fries or chicken, then this one does a great job with a pretty large capacity. We're going to move on to oven-style air fryers next, but before we do, I want to cover the Instant Pot Air Fryer lid, which is in a class of its own because it's an accessory for your Instant Pot. This lid is also on the more affordable side, but you do need to already own an Instant Pot in order to use it. What I love about the air fryer lid is that there's no smell when you use it for the first time, and you're cooking in the stainless steel pot of your Instant Pot, so your food isn't totally surrounded by heated plastic. I tested homemade French fries in this basket, and they turned out just as crispy as the fries I made in my other basket-style air fryers. I also like that this lid is multi-purpose, so you can use it to broil the top of a chicken that you pressure cooked in your Instant Pot, and it also has a dehydrator setting if you have something pretty small that you want to try dehydrating in here. The lid is also small enough that you can store it in a kitchen cabinet, and you can store the extra air fryer basket inside your machine to maximize storage space. The air fryer accessories are dishwasher safe, so it's easy to clean, and the coils in the lid are also easy to reach if cleaning those is important to you. What I don't love about the Instant Pot air fryer lid is its size. You can't cook a lot of homemade fries in here at once because it doesn't have a huge surface area to work with. It does have an extra layer that you can add to double the surface area, but even with that, it feels pretty small, and if you're cooking something that needs to be flipped, it would be challenging to reach the bottom layer once you add in this extra tray. One thing to note is that if you're cooking frozen French fries, it really doesn't matter how much can fit in a single layer. Most air fryers will probably be able to cook a whole bag of those at once because you don't have to worry about cooking things in a single layer when you're simply reheating something that has already been fried. It's probably the best fit for somebody who's not sure they're going to be air frying much and already owns an Instant Pot and is probably only cooking for 1 to 2 people at the most. Now let's move on to the oven-style air fryers, which are more multi-purpose. This type of air fryer tends to be at least double the price when compared to basket-style air fryers, but they also tend to be larger and have more functionality. The first oven-style air fryer we're going to discuss is this KitchenAid Air Fryer. This is the most affordable oven-style model that I've bought, and I love that it has multiple settings, including proofing and dehydrating. Oven-style air fryers are essentially small convection ovens that come with a wire tray, which allows air to better circulate and crisp up your food. The French fries that I tested in this model turned out crispy, so I'm pretty satisfied with the air fryer function here. One thing to note is that when I first used this air fryer, I wasn't sure that it came with a timer because it wasn't obvious on the front of the machine. So today I'm going to show you how to find and use the timer on your KitchenAid Air Fryer. When you press on this dial, it will switch from the temperature setting to the timer setting. That's a big perk of using air fryer ovens, in my opinion, because the oven will turn off automatically when it's done cooking, unlike a regular oven which needs to be turned off manually. Cleaning-wise, this air fryer is easy to clean, especially if you remember to place a pan under your air fryer tray to catch any drippings. What I don't love about this air fryer is the fact that it does still smell the first few times you use it, but luckily the air fryer basket is made of stainless steel, so your food isn't in direct contact with any non-stick surface. This oven is on the smaller side compared to my other oven-style air fryers, and while it says it can cook a whole chicken, I had a hard time fitting a 4-pound chicken into this air fryer because the oven space isn't as tall as it is in other models. The chicken I tried touched the heating element at the top here, so that's not ideal in my opinion. If you're planning on cooking something like a whole chicken, then the other 2 models that we're about to discuss will probably be a better fit for you. If you're not going to be cooking something as tall as a whole chicken, then this KitchenAid Air Fryer is still a great choice because it has a lot of flexibility and an affordable price point. The next oven-style air fryer that we're going to cover today is the Cuisinart Air Fryer, and this is the first oven-style model that I ever bought. What I like about this air fryer is that it feels more compact space-wise, so it doesn't dominate your kitchen counter quite as much as other oven-style air fryers, and I love the stainless steel look of it. I like that the air fryer basket is stainless steel and it's capable of cooking a 12-inch pizza or a 4-pound chicken with plenty of clearance at the top. This air fryer uses manual dials for the settings rather than a digital screen, so I'm not sure if that's a pro or a con, but I thought I'd point it out. What I don't love about this air fryer is that it tends to run hotter than other air fryers, so when I'm following a recipe, sometimes I need to turn it down by 25 to 50 degrees so that the food inside doesn't burn. It definitely gets things crispy, but you just need to watch for overcooking with this model. This air fryer has a slight smell the first few times you use it, probably because the interior does have a nonstick coating, but it's not nearly as bad as the basket style models. Because this model is smaller than the other oven style air fryers, it will hold the least amount of food, so it's probably not ideal if you're cooking for a large family. It also doesn't have any other specialty features like proofing or dehydrating, so it's more of a straightforward oven without the extra bells and whistles. The last oven style air fryer that I want to cover today is the Breville Smart Oven, which is the largest and most expensive air fryer that I own. The company gifted this one to me a few years ago, and what I love about it is it has a lot of settings to choose from. I've used it to soften butter and proof cinnamon rolls around the holidays, when my kitchen is usually too cold to let things rise well. And I've also used the dehydrator setting to make homemade fruit roll-ups. It's much easier to dehydrate things on a large flat surface like this one compared to the smaller air fryer baskets. You can also use it to bake when you don't want to heat up your kitchen with a larger oven. It can cook a 13-inch pizza or roast a whole 5-pound chicken, so it really is a great oven substitute. When it comes to air frying, this oven does a great job of making homemade French fries, but sometimes it needs a few more minutes than recipes call for to get things crispy. I tend to use this particular model the most in my kitchen, particularly for warming up leftovers instead of using a microwave. I love that I can fit 2 baking trays in here to heat up 2 layers of food at once. This is definitely my top choice if you're cooking for a larger family. What I don't love about this model is the size can be a bit of a shocker if you're working with a small kitchen. It definitely takes up some considerable counter space, but I've gotten used to it in the corner of my kitchen. It's also the most expensive of the oven-style air fryers, so that's a downside in my opinion too. I've been using this one for 2 years so far and I haven't had any issues, but I do recall the oven having a slight smell when I first used it, but it wasn't as significant as the basket-style air fryers that we mentioned earlier. Now that we've covered 9 different air fryers, let's talk about which ones are best for your needs. If you're looking for the most non-toxic air fryer, I think the Big Boss with its glass bowl and no non-stick coating is for you. If you're looking for the best air fryer for a large family, I think the Breville Air Fryer is your best bet because it has the largest capacity by far, and I find myself using this air fryer more than any other that I own on a daily basis with my family. It definitely has the widest variety of functions, and I use it year-round as a way to heat up leftovers, proofing cinnamon rolls, and any task where I don't want to turn on my big oven. If the Breville is out of your price range, then a basket-style air fryer like the Ninja in one of its larger sizes would probably be your best bet, since it won't have the smell that some of the other basket-style air fryers do. I hope this air fryer review has been helpful, and if you're looking for healthy recipes to use with your new air fryer, be sure to check out my other videos here, and you'll find even more on my website, detoxinista.com.